Hello there and welcome to Black Jackal Gaming. Today we're going to take a look at intercessors and see if they're worth it for your Space Marines army. So they're relatively cheap to field. They've got an ability which is actually quite good. They have quite a versatile weapon with its assault and heavy keyword. And you can take a lot of them for the points value at the moment, and they are battle line. There's a substantial amount of characters that can join them to give them a couple of buffs. And they're quite easy access to buy them because they come in a lot of bundles, combat patrols, starter sets, so they're quite easy to pick up. And the damage profile is pretty poor, unfortunately. Taking a look at the datasheet, they come in at 80 points for a 5-man unit and 160 points for a 10-man unit. The profile is your standard profile for Space Marines, movement 6 inches, toughness 4, 3 up save, 2 wounds, leadership 6+, and objective control 2. They come as standard equipped with a bolt rifle. This gives you the assault and heavy keyword. The assault keyword allows you to advance and still fire, and the heavy keyword gives you that +1 to hit if you remain stationary. It comes with a 24-inch range, 2 attacks, ballistic skill 3+, strength 4, -1 AP and 1 damage. For every 5 intercessors in the squad, you can equip 1 in addition with the grenade launcher. Now the profile you want to choose for this really is the crack profile, because that comes with your 24-inch range, 1 attack, ballistic skill 3, but then it comes with very nice strength 9, -2 AP and D3 damage. So you've got a bit of more damage output there at a higher strength. They come equipped as standard with close combat weapons. It's 3 attacks, weapon skill 3, strength 4, 0 AP and 1 damage. You do have a couple of options with your sergeant to upgrade them. First being the power fist, which comes in at 3 attacks, weapon skill 3+, strength 8, -2 AP and 2 damage. And the next option you really want to take is the Thunder Hammer. It has the same profile as the Power Fist, but it comes with devastating wounds, so on a critical wound roll, this bypasses the armor save of your opponent and goes straight to damage, so they would need to feel no pain to prevent this. The only negative with this is that it does come at weapon skill 4+, so it is harder to hit. You do have the options of a power sword or a chain sword, but these are your best options really for your sergeant. Looking at the ability, it's called Objective Secured. What this allows you to do is if you control an objective marker at the end of your command phase and this unit is within range for that objective marker remains under your control even if you have no mortals within range of this, and it will stay this way until your opponent controls it at the start or end of any turn. So what this allows you to do is plonk them on it in your command phase, and at the end of the command phase you then sticky that objective, so you can move off of that objective and still control it. Now to prevent this, the opponent needs to take control by putting a model on it, and it has to be there at the start or the end of a turn for them to take control. It's quite a nice objective ability to have. Now there's lots of leaders that can join them. First being the Ancient, which pretty much just gives them +1 objective control, so moves them to 3 objective control, which is quite nice, especially if you've got a 10-man unit, because that puts them on 30 objective control. Not much can bounce them off of that at that point. The Apothecary allows you to bring back 1 character in the command phase, and when the unit he is leading is destroyed, you roll a d6, and on a 2+, you get 1 command point. The Captain allows you to reduce the cost of a stratagem by 1 CP per battle round, which is quite nice. The Chaplain gives you +1 to wound for melee. He also allows you to have battle shock removed once per battle. The Justiciar gives you the Fight First, which you're probably never going to put on this unit with their 0 AP attacks, I should say. The Librarian gives you quite a nice 4+ invulnerable save and 4+ feel no pain against psychic attacks. This is quite nice if you've got the 10-man unit because it makes you actually quite tanky. And then you have the Lieutenant, which his ability grants all weapons the lethal hits ability. So that's on a critical hit roll, you automatically wound the opponent, which is quite nice since you do just have the strength 4 weapons, and that -1 AP will come in handy at that point. He also allows you to fall back and still be able to shoot and charge, which is quite nice. Looking at the detachments and what's the best use you can get out of them. For the Gladius Task Force, they've got a Storm of Fire stratagem that gives you the ability to ignore cover, and you gain +1 AP when in Devastator Doctrine. So this is quite nice. So they will not get the benefits of cover, so they don't get the +1 to their save, and you're getting that additional AP, so you get -2 AP, so it's quite a nice level to be at, especially if you're going into Space Marines, because that will put them on 5s to save. You got the Anvil Siege Force. When you're remaining still, you get that +1 to wound when standing still, because you do have the heavy keyword, so you're +1 to hit and +1 to wound. And they've got a nice stratagem called Battle Drill Recall, which gives you sustained hits as well. And you will critically hit on a 5+1 stationary, which is really nice. You've then got the Ironstorm Spearhead. This allows you to reroll a hit, a wound, and damage roll per turn. So this is quite nice. So you've got a better chance of getting that crack grenade going in and doing some damage. So it's got a stratagem called Mercy is Weak, which gives you sustained hits 1 when you're targeting a unit that's below half strength. We've also got the Firestorm Assault Force. So this gives you +1 strength when you're within 12 inches of the opponent. So that will put you on the strength 5 weapons. It also has a stratagem called Crucible of Battle, which gives you +1 to wound when targeting the closest target within 6 inches. So if you are within 6 inches and it's closest target, not only are you now strength 5, you're +1 to wound as well, which puts you at quite a nice threshold to be at. So say you're going into Terminators, for example. You've gone from wounding them on 5s because they're toughness 5 to wounding them on 3s because you're now strength 5 and you get that +1 to wound. The Stormlance Task Force. This allows you to still charge when you're advancing or falling back, so that's quite nice. And the Blitzing Fusillade gives you sustained hits 1, which is quite nice to have as well. The Vanguard Spearhead. This grants you the benefits of cover and -1 to hit when outside of 12 inches, which makes you all that more durable. It's got a stratagem called Strike from the Shadows, which if you are more than 12 inches away from your opponent, you get +1 ballistic skill and AP when targeting that unit. So it's quite a nice little buff to have. I'll put you on ballistic skill 2, and you've got the +1 to hit if you haven't moved. So any minuses onto you, still 2+ to hit. And then you've got that 2 AP, which is quite a nice threshold to be at. Then you've got the First Company. You don't get any benefits for being in this really, apart from the detachment rule allows you that second opportunity to have Oaths a Moment. I'm going through the thoughts about this and the extra bits and zits. There's 160 points for a 10-man unit, which is actually quite good when you consider the T4 2-wound bodies. That's really cheap for that amount of wounds. If you put a Librarian with that, it makes this unit very hard to hit. There's not many units that can push through a 3-up, 4-up save on a T4 2-wound unit with 10 bodies in it plus the Librarian. Now, we all know bolters are struggling in 10th edition. They struggled in 9th edition as well. But they are quite good into your T3 bodies, so your likes of your Eldar and your Guard, because they do come with that Assault Heavy and the 1 AP. You can combine them with some buffs, and this really allows them to tear through those T3 bodies. Makes it quite easy to grind them into dust. But you're harder to hit units where they are toughness 5 and above. It is quite hard pushing damage through to them because you do only have 2 shots for each bolter. So you do then need to start using a lot of the buffs like the sustained hits and the lethal hits to make sure you're pushing through. With the Lieutenant, it makes them quite a threat really. Even though they're -1 AP, you can force a lot of saves, especially if it's a 10-man unit. If you're going to an Oaths a Moment target, you're going to be re-rolling your hits. There's plenty of ways to get lethals and sustained hits on 6, maybe or even on 5s. You're getting +1 with your heavy if you haven't moved. You can advance and still shoot. There's different detachments give you, +1 to wound. All different ways to make sure you're pushing through your damage with those lethal hits at -1 AP, which is quite nice. The 0 AP on the combat weapon isn't that great, but you do have 27 strength 4 attacks coming in, which isn't fantastic, but when you're hitting on 3s, you can force them to make a lot of saves, and sometimes the dice cards just go against you and you roll all those 1s and 2s and models die. And you do also have the Power Fist or the Thunder Hammer on the Sergeant, so going into the right opponent, they can actually do quite well. And if it is an Oaths a Moment target, you are going to get those rerolls of hits as well, so you can force a lot of attacks to go through. If you liked the video, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel to see all future content. Take it easy, and I'll see you next time.